Hello, welcome to the Late Night Lounge here on Latte Firm. It is Friday, the 26th of September. I hope you've all had a smashing week wherever you are watching from around the world. What have we seen this week? League Cup glory for Arsenal as we march through to the fourth round. William Saliba on the verge of signing a new contract. And match week 6 of the Barclays is upon us. Arsenal head to St James's Park on Sunday to take on Newcastle United. So that is what we're going to look forward to tonight. We're going to bring in two stellar guests, as we always do, and get involved in the chat. Let me know what you're having to snack tonight. Let's go straight to the chat, actually, and see who's been waiting early on. Nathan, welcome to the show. Channel member, Patreon members, welcome as well. And, of course, keep the chat active. Says, Yield is my boy. What have I missed? Has he done something amazing? Dan says, another late finish, and the Latte Firm are here to save the day. Volume up and ready. Evening, FK, and everyone in the chat. Dan, it's really good to hear from you. Hope you've had a really good week. Dave is in the house as well. Evening Gooners, he says, tap that like button. We all know it's going to be a great show. That's very kind of you, Dave. I hope you've had a fantastic week as well. Jizzle McDizzle, is Newcastle now a must-win game? Going to get that, get the thoughts of our panelists shortly. Seems ridiculous to be almost writing off our league season already in September, but Liverpool just keep racking up the wins. We're going to look at the start of the season and why Liverpool just can't keep getting away with it. But Jizzle McDizzle, be positive, my friend. Josh says, hello, gang. Hello to you, my man. Arsenal granny's in the house saying, not great having to play late on a Sunday. Well, it could be later. There are games scheduled for 7:30, I think, on Sunday evenings this season. Luckily, we're not one of them, but I know what you mean. It's always the last game of the weekend, and you kind of want to go first and get a win, and then you can put your feet up and watch the entire weekend of Barclays. V Vlad is in the house, says, good evening, guys. Almost feels like a must-win game of Sunday. There's a lot of that in the chat. We shall see what the panelists feel. Karen is in the house. Hope you're well. Sheen is in the house as well. Ian, welcome, says, evening, Gunners. Only way to spend a Friday with you guys. That's really kind of you, Ian, and I'm so pleased that you've made the show. Paul James, good evening all. If we beat Newcastle, I think the fan base will be more positive. 13 points out of 18, especially out of those 6 fixtures that we all identified and look forward to at the start of the season. That wouldn't be such a bad return. Viggs is here. Evening Gooners say no to Rice, Zubi, Marino midfield. Hope Odegaard is fit. Yeah, there is a scathing stat that I'm going to bring up shortly as well tonight. Paul James, bloody hell, that's an early start. Yeah, I started a few minutes earlier than always, which is good. Jeffrey is here. Raphael is here. Latif is here. Must win on Sunday, he says. Ragamuffin. I love the familiar names. Tise4422 says, big ups FK and Latte Firm. If you are tuning in for the first time, and you're wondering what the hell's going on here, this isn't the daily grind. The Late Night Lounge on a Friday is supposed to be just a late night lounge chill sesh. So bring your snacks, bring your chat, and just enjoy it. It's a much longer show than normal, and get stuck in. Good evening, my neighbors. Keep the chat active. Let's go straight to our panelists. Oh, check this out. Hotnaj Harsh Patel says, listening from Jamaica today. Fantastic. Let me know what countries you guys are watching from. Let's see how high and wide we can go. And Shorov's just in a good mood. Oh, Arsenal, we love you. We love you, Arsenal. We do. Right, let's bring in our first guest tonight. It is, of course, Yembele. How are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you doing, mate?
I'm not bad. How's your week been?
Fair to middling.
Fair to middling?
Yeah. It's... some good, obviously, good news with William Saliba signing the new deal, and obviously we'll talk about that League Cup win. But obviously, I still can't get Man City off my head. It still annoys me. 45 minutes of waste.
Oh, harsh. I mean, look, walking away from the stadium, it was relief in the end that we got the draw. But actually, looking back at the fixture, it was an opportunity to go for the win. And unfortunately for me, 2 points dropped. But you got to move on, man. You can't keep living in the memory of that.
When I saw that, when I saw that lineup again with Mikel Merino up top in the third round, I was like, oh my God, he can't help himself, can he?
Oh, dear. Oh dear.
Hey, don't lie.
Not in a good mood, chat.
Don't lie, because when you heard that lineup on Sunday, you lost your mind, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to see Mourinho midfield, and I don't want to see Trossard ever start for us. But look, we're going to get our panelists' thoughts tonight, and the chat also. Ashina is watching from Ireland. Sofiane is watching from Paris. Jizzle McDizzle is watching from his home in Oldham. Lovely that. Love that. DJ Ash says he's watching from the exotic Southend-on-Sea in Essex. And Manny says Yembeezy. Canada, says Latif. Talking of global phenomenons, let's bring him in. Haroon Hickman, welcome back to the firm, my man. How are you? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah, doing very well. Long week, but excited to end it with you two folks and everyone in the chat. So
That's so kind of you. But you've also got the sweat, the sort of steak sweats, haven't you? You've been out tonight, flat iron. Talk to us. What did you have?
Yeah, no, I've been home for like a grand total of about like 12 minutes because I sprinted back from going to the gym, then running to have a steak by myself, as you do on a Friday night, really romantic, surrounded by date night couples, and then just me like gobbling down a steak while doing my emails, really ruining the vibe for everyone. But if you haven't had flat iron, anyone in the chat, it's phenomenal. Strongly recommend. Had some cream spinach on the side. Loved it. And yeah, just kind of working through the meat sweat. So if you see any glistening on the forehead, just ignore. I'll try and pat it away and keep it
I
civil.
love it, man. I love it. So, you went to the gym and then you obviously went to Flat Iron, had steak, and you pegged it home, and he's been online for about 10 minutes. I love that. Do you know, I don't think people eat out enough on their own.
When do you eat out on your own? Hold on. You don't do it at all. You literally call up anybody and everybody. Oh,
I mean,
guys,
what can I say?
around?
I like company, and I like, I like to sort of check in on people. But I do feel that eating out on my own is something that I would actually quite enjoy.
So why don't you do it? It's not that
I
hard. You
need to
take
do it.
yourself
I need
out
to do it.
to a place.
Yeah, I mean, flat iron's a bit bold on a Friday night as well, where it's going to be Ramboed.
Yeah, I miscalculated like the number of date nights there, and there's just me sitting in my shorts, like sweating away while guys are trying to charm their girlfriends. I was ruining the atmosphere. So yeah, maybe we might go for something a bit less.
Maybe. Listen, the world are watching. Karen is in Torquay, Oslo, obviously in Norway. Yared says he's watching from St. Paul, Minnesota. We've got one from Malawi as well. Tisungana, welcome to the show. I love that. Loving the commitment around the world, says Harsh Patel. I'm in Woodford. Yembele's in Woodford. What part of London are you in, Haroon?
I'm in Fulham, West London. So not too far from Craven Cottage, actually. So that's my local, so to speak, at the moment, which is a nice one, actually. They're quite civilized as a crowd.
Costa del Hemel Hampstead says AFC treble 7. Terence Tibbs is always one. He's watching from HMP Pentonville. Good evening from Winnipeg. Is that a real place? Where's Winnipeg?
Canada. It's in Canada.
Oh, is that Canada? I'll tell you what, geography was not my strength at school. Raphael says Richmond, Virginia. Checking in. I love that. Yeah, well, listen, Wayne is okay. Tise, thank you so much for asking. He's normally obviously the other panelist on the late night lounges, but he has just moved house and he's been busy for the last couple of weeks buying furniture, sorting Wi-Fi, and he's shown us a video of his place tonight, and it looks fantastic. Wayne, we are thinking of you. We're missing you, but congratulations on your new gaff. Paul James is watching from Enfield. AP is from Stratford, and Josh Miller is from Ohio. Wonderful. We're a global fan base. Look, chaps, lots to talk about tonight. William Saliba's new contract, the League Cup fourth round draw, chance creation, big issue, lots of stories being made out about it. Is Arteta being a little bit more cautious, a little bit more defensive minded? Is it Mikel Merino in central midfield? Why isn't Eberechi Eze playing, or at least one of Eze and Odegaard? And of course, it's Newcastle on Sunday that marks the end of this 6-game opening spell that everybody feared going into the new season. So lots to talk about. Let's bring it straight up, actually. Let's go straight into the William Saliba chat. He is here to stay. Haroon, obviously, the still on the right-hand side is courtesy of an interview that he's given with Sky Sports, and he talks about how when he was young, not many people supported Arsenal. He did, of course. There is pictures of him in his Arsenal jersey. They all preferred Madrid, he said, or Barcelona. But me, I was a proper one. When that news broke yesterday, how did you feel?
Absolutely delighted. I think that obviously this is one of the probably top 3 defenders in the world, in my opinion. And it's imperative, sort of like our future solidity and attempts to challenge for the biggest trophies, to have these kind of players renewed and locked in and focused for a sustained period of time. There were definitely parts of this negotiation process that were less easy, but the great thing is, apparently in the summer, Gabriel and Arteta were the ones to get him over the line. And another hat tip for Andrea Berta to get it done. I think that it's a really good signal as well to other top players in the club. So, we'll probably have to start talking to Declan, Duran Timber, hopefully Saka's close as well. It's just a good sign to say, look, I'm committing my best years to Arsenal. It's a great signal for everyone else. And also, I think I tweeted about this yesterday. It kind of gives you more shots at bat at the biggest trophies. Like, the great teams are able to keep their core players together for a sustained period of time. Look at Liverpool. It's starting to unfold after like a 8-year, 9-year period. But to keep their Van Dijks, their Salahs, Trentford period, Alisson together is a meaningful, robust part of their team that allows them to go again and again at title challenges. And this is the same here. So I was absolutely delighted. I think he deserves it. I like that the club didn't really mess about with this negotiation, and it's just like back to focus, back to just thinking, how do I get those trophies over the line? So thrilled.
Yeah, really thrilled. And Yem, I've just realised I've forgotten snack check, so we'll do that after this slide. But Yem, what does it say to you about belief in the project that this club is on, belief in the gaffer? Because Mikel Arteta has come under a lot of scrutiny, certainly over the last sort of year, 2 years, for not winning anything. But if the best players, the best young players want to commit their long-term future to the club, that obviously bodes well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't sign a new deal, especially when you've got Real Madrid, knocking on your door saying we want you, and going, well, I'd prefer to stay at Arsenal. They're paying me enough money and they're not really challenging. You don't do that. When William Saliba is wanted and is one of the best defenders in the world, he wants trophies. Gabriel wants trophies. Miles Lewis-Skelly wants development, but also wants trophies. All players want trophies. There's very rarely a player who will say, I don't want to win a trophy. And when you're at the top level, you want to have that as a regular thing. And William Saliba certainly does deserve it. He is one of the best defenders in the world. We can all acknowledge Virgil van Dijk is probably the outright number one, but he's not far behind and he's much younger. Now, obviously what conditions have been made, because obviously it's a 5-year deal, which is astounding. That's the first thing. It's a 5-year deal, which we want to take him through to his best years. He'll be 29 by the time that comes up for renewal, 28 really, because you go into your last year, you take it into the last year and you renew from there. But that's, as Haroon said, giving you enough time to have a shot at winning the big ones. You've got a multitude of chances, and you want to, ideally want to win it this year, but you want to keep that core group together, because when you've got that settled defense, and I actually talked about this on our podcast, when you've got a settled defense, it's much easier to build out. We're going to talk about the attacking problems, but when you've got that settled defense, you don't need to worry. We know exactly what we're going to get now with our defense. And I mean the defense as a collective. We've talked about Gabriel and Saliba for years, and they're the best centre-back partnership. But we're now getting to a stage where we've got a settled defensive unit. And we want to keep them together for as long as possible. We want to keep everyone together because it gives us a better shot of winning the title. Very rarely do you have unsettled teams winning the Premier League. It's ones who have been together, as Haroon said, for years. So it's great news. We hope, obviously, the last piece of the puzzle for this particular, window, which is Bukayo Saka, gets done, because then that's pretty much, I'd say job done for Berta for this initial period where he's joined. That's what his remit was, and I think he's done very well so far.
Absolutely. Andrea Berta getting a lot of the credit, and rightfully so. And, lots of people are obviously excited about William Saliba signing his best years, his peak years that he's going to go into for the foreseeable future with Arsenal Football Club. And as you can see in the graphic there, courtesy of Bleacher Report, Florentino Perez in the background in the window, just sort of gazing on as Mikel Arteta. This is obviously a make-believe photo, just in case there's someone who just doesn't quite get it. You just never know. It hasn't actually been announced by Arsenal yet. Mikel Arteta in very positive spirits in his press conference today, and also alluding to the fact that Bukayo Saka will be next. And Haroon, just last thing on the defence, Mikel Arteta has, and I've got to trademark this phrase, he's worked on his Ministry of Defence for a long time now. We are stacked. We yet to see Piero Hincapié, of course, in a start for Arsenal. Do you think Arteta has gone a little bit to the other way? Like, do you think the focus has been on defensive solidity now for the last sort of 18, 24 months?
Yes and no. I think that all great teams need that foundation. Yem spoke to that as well. I think that, in terms of a unit of the pitch, I don't think any team has a better comparison defense in the world. Like, I think it's absolutely formidable. Not just the starting four, but the four behind them as well. Complementary skill sets, giving different options in terms of how they attack. All physically phenomenal, great readers of the game. I think it's such a privilege to have that structure, and we haven't had it possibly ever to this extent. I think it's, to put the trophies in the mix. I think we should have won and didn't get over the line. You're talking about arguably one of the best defenses in Arsenal's history at the moment, I think, and they need the trophies to really kind of sign and seal that off. And you really can't do anything else sustainably without that. I think that, obviously it's nascent in the season, but Chelsea are showing fragility in defense that makes people doubt that they can sustain a title challenge, but they have a plethora of options in attack. Liverpool, even right now, let's see how the season goes. They've got some good results over the line. They've won every game, but they're leaking goals. How sustainable is that? So I think what this defensive foundation gives us is a chance to be in the room and in the conversation come May time. And I think that's really critical. It says, okay, our floor as a club won't ever collapse because we've got this really, really solid foundation to work off of. Now, I think that Arteta is also a manager who is very reactive to, for want of a better phrase, sort of painful moments in his career. Think about the 22-23 season when we went to the Etihad and got blown apart at City. He'd never wanted us to be that easy to transition through ever again. And to be honest, we haven't really been since.
Was that the 4-1 game or was that the 5-0 game when Xhaka got sent off? 4-1. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. It was actually that was the moment, wasn't it, when he just started going crazy in the defensive market.
Yeah, and I think that since then our defense has been formidable. I'm actually trying to rack my brain. Have we lost a game by more than 2 goals since then? I don't feel like we have. I think it's been very, very robust since that point, and I think that's deliberate. Now, what we'll probably come to talk about is the evolution back to sort of a more harmonious balance, where actually I think we have gone a bit too defensive. We have thought of controlling the game through duels and defense and that foundation versus controlling the game through sort of technical quality and repetitive chance creation. I think that that's something that we can move back towards. So I think that it's a necessary foundation to be a great team. But actually the secret sauce to getting that final 2% to go over the line is probably being a bit braver and actually saying we've got that foundation. We can actually be a bit looser up the pitch because we can rely on those players at the back.
Indeed. Listen, I've just taken the slides away because we're going to do Snatch Check in a second. But Jeet, welcome to the show, says the squad is perfect right now. Numbers, quality, and length of contract-wise. Funner Gunner 83 says, damn, 14 minutes late now. I've got to be off with the chat because I can't miss a precious FK word. That's very kind of you, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Harsh says, squad is almost perfect. Injuries hindering us a little. Missing Havertz. However, squad selection needs to be revised. And Alex saying, Faisal, evening, lad. I was disappointed with how you crashed out on Sunday. Never mind. Hopefully Arsenal cheer you up against Newcastle. Yeah, listen, I thought Manchester City was an opportunity for us, and I was disappointed with the lineup going into the game. Haroon, you and I share a group chat, and we were all talking about Marino, Trossard, really? And in the end, it took 2 halftime substitutions to get us back in the game, and I just feel even little things like just celebrating the Martinelli goal when actually you had 2 or 3 minutes on the clock, get back to the centre circle and just go again. Very, very sort of old school mentality there. But I just feel they were there on the ropes and we should have gone even harder. Just be a bit bolder. What else is there? Luton away was the last competitive game. We conceded more than 2 goals, Haroon. Coming back to your point, which is sensational because that was a long, long time ago. Rob, welcome to the show. Says, big up FK and Latte Firm family. Yem, congratulations on the red lines and half spaces. He has subscribed. Yeah, really great episode earlier in the week with Tom Canton. Do check it out. Red lines and half spaces. Fantastic podcast. Yem, really enjoying your work. I wish you'd just keep your points articulate on here as you do well there. Right, let's talk about Snack Check.
I do it to annoy you, my friend. That's why I do it.
And it fucking works, mate. Right. You go first, Jem. What have you got for us tonight?
I got the classic. I had to do it. I went to Marks and Sparks today and I couldn't resist it. I had to go with the profiterole dessert.
Oh no! Do you know what that is your number, isn't it? When you go to M&S,
I have had this. I've had this for years, and it Marks and Spencer don't ever change this. It is perfect right now. It's got everything you want. A bit of profiterole, a little bit of chocolate, a bit of cream. Oh, it's delightful snack they've accomplished.
Chat, let me know what you guys are snacking on tonight. Of course, it is a Friday night here in England. My thing when I go to M&S is always the Belgian chocolate eclairs. They are absolutely
very nice. They are very delightful.
Not the fancy ones that you had. No.
You got to try it though. Just try it. I'm just saying,
mate. Don't fix what ain't broke. Haroon, what you got tonight? Just enjoy your profit.
I was going to say Yem usually gets dragged for a snack check choice, but that was a.
I know it was good. It was decent. It was decent, to be fair.
I've kept it quite simple. I've got alongside my cup of tea in my H mug. I've got some OG hobnobs.
Oh yes, mate, they are top tier.
Top tier. And then I also I've always tried to find like marshmallows without gelatin, and I found I don't usually go for like vegan snacks, but like these ones are
vegan mallows. Okay, interesting.
Absolutely sensational.
What, with tea and biscuits, or is that just a separate?
I'm kind of gonna like do a s'mores situation where you like put the marshmallow between the hobnobs. I'm gonna do this off screen so I don't look like I'm.
Is it like an Oreo type? Is it like an Oreo type?
That's interesting.
Exactly. The only disappointing thing is I don't have like an open fire in my office right now to heat up the marshmallow. But sorry.
You can do that and set off the fire alarm and see what happens.
No, there's not. There's not. I've gone classic Yembele, and I've got some savoury tonight. I've just, you know what? I just got the paprika max. It's been a long time. We've gone for heritage.
It's not. No, it has not. It's been a week. It's not even a week. 5 days.
Well, I mean, I have this for my meal deal most days, but listen, I've gone for it again. It's my leftover crisp from today's lunch, actually. Asheen says pistachio nuts and peach kombucha. That's a great combo. Peach as well on a Friday night. Manny says snack check tonight: cheese and onion walkers, carrot cake, and a cup of tea.
Not all together. Not all together, I hope.
No, but you have the crisps first, and then you sort of, enjoy your cake with your tea. Cheese and onion is probably the best Walker's crisp they do. Just trying to think, is there a better flavour? The roast chicken is pretty good, but cheese and onion is the one, isn't it?
No, you just had paprika max.
No.
No.
No. I'm talking. The standard Walkers that you get.
I'm a salt vinegar butt, but cheese and onion.
Of course you are.
I'm with Yem on that. I'm afraid.
What?
Yeah, salt and
what is
vinegar.
this? Blasphemy.
You need the sharpness to really.
Yeah, it's the tang when you put it in for the first time.
I need Wayne back ASAP. AFC 777 says he's having a toffee crisp McFlurry. I didn't know that they was even out. Vlad says Yembele must be one of the biggest profiterole consumers. That's right. Yeah. Jeffrey's having pancakes. Waffle fries, says gaming since 2010. Welcome to the show. Aiden, my man, welcome. Patreon member, YouTube channel member, and courtesy of the Patreon group, he is going to go to Newcastle on Saturday, picking up a spare ticket, face value, of course. Welcome to the Patreon community. Donald says his snack this evening is a marmalade gin. He likes his gin, doesn't he, Donald? He does. Calm down, lads. Watch the carbs, says David Crumb. Well, listen, Haroon just come back from the gym. He's had his protein tonight. Yembele's just treated himself. If you've never met Yembele, he is an absolute specimen. And of course, me, the most finely tuned athlete that you guys will ever imagine, having my crisps. Umair says, hello, FK, Yem and Haroon from Pakistan. Bit late tonight. Hope you're all doing well. Dave says his snack check tonight is Lemsip. Oh, dear. I hope you're feeling well, my friend. Get well soon. I hope you're on the mend. Well. Indeed. Dairy Milk, says Paul James. Aidan says he's had a Biscoff and billionaire shortbread and ice cream from the local dessert place. That's quite heavy.
Really That's quite a lot of stuff in it.
That sounds really good. Oh, whoa. Saw cold, uncooked spaghetti noodles.
Whoa. This is like the tuna and HP sauce kind of debacle.
Oh, yeah, Haroon, we had the most horrific snack check.
Sounds disgusting.
And then someone said to me to try fish fingers with barbecue sauce. I need to do that live on air. I can't imagine.
It's designed for meat. It's designed for meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. A bit pedestrian. McVitie's bourbon biscuits.
Love a good bourbon.
Terence Tibbs says, oh yeah, the prawn cocktail walkers are pretty damn good, to be fair.
Prawn cocktail is pretty good.
But he goes on to say England has the worst crisp. Are you out of your mind? England has the greatest crisps of all time. Actually, no. When you go to Spain, Spanish crisps are something else.
Yeah, very good.
Ruffles. Oh man. Last one, Alison says she is having sea salt and black pepper crisps. You are a lady of class.
No, but for diversity, do you know what? For your diversity of crisps, England is unmatched because you've got your hand cooked, you've got your normal. You've got something for every mood. That's
you are, Chris connoisseur. Here he is.
Mate, my cupboard is stacked. I've got Takis, I've got the Marks and Spencer mix, I've got Walkers. It's all going on in the snack cupboard. That's why.
It's all going on. Alex has got the bourbon biscuits, 49 pence from Sainsbury's.
Hey, look, there's nothing wrong with that.
If you're going to Sainsbury's, do yourselves all a favour and get apple and raspberry jam donuts. They are the goat, let me tell you. Right, let's go back to the slides. William Saliba obviously set to sign. Fantastic. Hopefully Bukayo Saka soon. And as many people are saying in the chat, Jurien Timber. Apparently his contract runs up soon and he's still such a very young boy, which is great. The League Cup 4th round, we're not going to dwell on this too much. This was the draw. Obviously, chaps, we won away in Port Vale during the week. Yem, any ties catch your attention and how do you feel about Brighton at home in the next round?
Newcastle Tottenham obviously is the big one that stands out to me because obviously it's two teams who are fairly, I'm not under Thomas Frank now. Tottenham are quite physical now. They're certainly steeled up a little bit. Newcastle, and we're going to talk about it, we always know what to expect. So I think that's going to be a tasty tie. Liverpool, Crystal Palace, which is this weekend as well, is going to be another nice clash that's going to happen. But obviously for us, Brighton is, we could have got a lot worse draw, I would have said, but we could have got a lot better as well. It's kind of that. It's okay. Brighton are still a bit of a mixed bag, I think. They score. They've got a good attacking potential, but they're conceding goals left, right, and centre. I mean, I watched the Spurs game and I thought went ahead 2-0, but were really open and were really easy to break down. So it bodes well. And again, I think having what we've all talked about is our depth. You rotate that squad, you're still not really under strength, are you anymore? You're just playing a different variation of a team. That's all it is. So I'm not unhappy with the draw. Obviously it's going to be a tough game. It's at the Emirates though. I still think we've got a very good chance to go through. I think Brighton will go stronger than we will, but I don't see any reason why those players who are going to be rotated in will not do well on the day.
Haroon, I got to be honest, I would have much preferred a Grimsby at home, Swansea at home, or a Wickham at home and stat pad 8-0 and just go through. However, it is Fabian Hertzler and his men who come to the Emirates. There's a little bit of heat, of course, after last season, that Declan Rice red card that was an absolute travesty. But also, Hertzler's a very dislikable coach. He's just the attitude, face, just everything about him just really annoys me. So I'm hoping that we can get the win. But what did you make of it?
Yeah, he's a spiky character. I'm not the biggest fan, but he's doing a decent job. Mixed feelings. I'm like you. I would love to have had just a Grimsby or Wickham at home. Easy rotation of every position. I think this is a bit of a middle ground where you're like, we might get 6 rotated or 5, but we'll be surprised by a few starters. I mean, we were surprised by a few of the starters against Port Vale, I guess. And last time we played them in the League Cup, they pumped us 3-1. So, albeit we had Carl Hein in goal and completely different team. But it's just one of those where it's a mid-tier Premier League opposition in this cup have often been our downfall, weirdly. But I'm not wildly upset. I think home games are much more preferable, so I think that's fine with me. And in terms of the other ties, Newcastle Tottenham's obviously the standout. I feel you could pretty much predict the rest of them on that page, though.
I agree with you. David says Brighton have to rotate too. One of the largest squads in the league. We've got a really great squad. Best squad that I can remember in recent Arsenal years. And I think Arteta has to get the best out of them to really go far in all 4 competitions. Right. That night, obviously, as much as we won, chance creation has come into focus. And I want to focus on this slide first, courtesy of our partners, Opta Analyst, who have basically produced a chart that shows what teams have overperformed or underperformed based on game outcome simulations based on individual shot XG within a game. So, as you can see, the red dots are where we are actually are in terms of points this season. And the purple circles show you the expected points that we should be on. And as you can see, chaps, Arsenal are currently 9.2 points expected on individual shot XG, though we have 10 points. If you scroll down to Liverpool, and they're the sort of outlier, you can see them trying to sort of circle with my cursor, they should be on 8.6 points based on their individual shot XG, but they are on 15, maximum 5 out of 5. Haroon, when you see stats like this, does it either, I mean, obviously it frustrates you because Liverpool are just are going and they're going hard. Surely that's unsustainable. I hear you all cry. But when you see that, does it surprise you that we're slightly ahead based on actual points based on individual shot XG in the game so far?
Slightly, but also we've had 2 phenomenal home performances against Forest and Leeds that probably course correct some of the more turgid performances, I guess you could say. So I'm not wildly surprised. I think that given the overall grouping of the first 5 fixtures, it's kind of nice to know that we're near enough on par. I never looked at these first 5 or 6 rather, if we count Newcastle as well, and thinking we're going to absolutely blow it out the water. I felt it would be a tough start. It'd be a bit of a grind. So it looks like, we've kind of kept in the room. We're performing reasonably on par to where we want. I think the hard thing is that it's always going to be in the context of our nearest rival, and our nearest rival have just, as this graph shows, completely obliterated and made a mockery of their expected stats. And yeah, we can go into the sustainability of that or not. I think that I lean more on I don't know if this is like a Liverpool hate-driven thesis, but like I lean more on this idea that they can't keep this up because they've got a foundation that's not as strong as ours from a defensive perspective, and at some point leaking goals will just cost you points. But it's something that you can say that I'm not like blown away by what I'm seeing on this graph in terms of our performance, but I'm like, okay, this is reasonable for the set of fixtures that we've had, so I can make my peace with it.
Raphael's just mentioned that this is deja vu from Liverpool, and to your point, Haroon, about they are conceding goals. They're not as defensively tight as we are, but they have immense firepower. Of course, they're the devastating passing of Diogo Jota in the summer, but they've lost Darwin Nunez, they've lost Luis Diaz, but they have brought in Hugo Ekitike and, of course, Alex Isak. And there is a chance, as Vig says, that they might, and they're playing poor, but they might actually improve. Like everyone's expecting, well, this isn't sustainable. But what if they get better? What if Ekitike really clicks? What if Alex Isak really clicks? And by the way, the fun that we had with Ekitike yesterday on socials, Haroon, I mean,
So
we gotta come clean. I mean, we did it with Darwin Nunez, and you remember that day, Liverpool fans losing their heads, and there was a lot yesterday. Hugo Ekitike, our boy Dino, starting it off, and the snow just sort of avalanched. It was fantastic.
Nobody rattles Liverpool fans like he does. He's
unbelievable.
It's sensational.
Absolutely unbelievable. If anybody's not following AF Camden or AFC Camden, as he likes to say, but there's only that C, get involved. When you look at this, what Liverpool are doing is phenomenal. They have obviously relied on late winners, late goals in sort of the closing stages of games, and injury time sort of winners. They could get better, but how does this kind of grab you?
It's fine, as Haroon said. It is what we expect. After the first 5 tough games, we're pretty much on track with our XG to expected points, and it's just disappointing that obviously we're going up against a team who have had a mixture of different factors that have led to them winning every game pretty much. But as people have said, they're not in the best of form right now, so there's a lot of scope for them to get better. And the same with us as well. You can tell right now we're very disjointed, but this is the problem that I have, the concern that I have, and we'll probably talk about it, is this disjointedness stems from last year. It's not a temporary thing. It's something that's innate at the moment in our squad, and we need to resolve that. And Arteta's had the time, so we need to fix this pretty quickly, because when we're on form, we do blow teams away. We've had it. We've had that period where we've literally blown teams away. Post Dubai, the first Dubai trip, we were absolutely insane. So the quality is there, but how we're going to get to that is the different matter. Because again, we'll talk about this. There's different factors around the manager, the team, the setup, all of these things. But we're going to have to do it quickly, because a lot of these teams, if you look at Chelsea, you look at some of the other teams, they're underperforming their XG, for example. That's not going to last. We need to be in that kind of rhythm where we're winning games and we're able to exploit attacks and not break down into this kind of horseshoe effect. Liverpool's, I don't think they'll sustain this kind of exponential XG. I don't think it's possible, but they're not going to fade away and drop to their normal XG. They are an XG overperformer. They've always been that way. Their attack is, superb, and whenever we see them go forward, it's always scary. So, but You want to wait for that drop off, and you want to be at least in the mix. So, yeah, nothing too wow, it's amazing, etc. It's more of a case of we need to do better, I think, and we all knew that. We all knew that, didn't we?
David says Brighton, wow, but if you also, I mean, Spurs, massively over exceeding based on individual shot XG. United and City falling short. It's going to be really interesting to see how this kind of levels out, if it does at all, and how Liverpool sustain their run and how we maybe hopefully improve. We shall see. Right, let's move on to chance creation. Let's stick with you, because you talked about this with Tom Canton in your podcast earlier this week, where you focused on Victor Gyökeres. The chart on the left-hand side, courtesy of Optra Analyst, showing you shots that Arsenal have had from open play in this season's Premier League. As you can see, 4 goals scored, over achieving against a 3.1 XG. That is from 39 shots on goal over the 5 games that we've had. And the circles that you can see, those that are coloured are the goals. The larger the circle, the higher the XG. Shot locations from open play, but chance creation in general. What's your take on how well we're doing in terms of shots in open play? How would you feel just instinctively? I'll bring up the stats in just a second, but compared to seasons gone by, how do you feel it's all going?
Well, this compared to last season is pretty much on par, because we've had, as I just said, we've had this disjointed team for a while. The problem is that now you've got a strike. We said, we need a striker. We need a striker to solve these problems. You've got the striker, but yet the problem still remains, I think, at the moment. And there's a number of reasons for that. I keep going back to it. It just feels like we're still in this mode of, Arteta's got this mindset, and Tom Canton put it really well, where he views it as, if we have the possession, we have all the statistics go our way, we win the game. But the fact is that we're not creating enough of the statistics that matter, which is open play chances. We don't create really that much in a game. I don't see enough. The Man City game showed it as well. We were dominant, but did we really penetrate towards the goal? I don't think so. I think the Leeds game, absolutely, we got the win we deserve, and we created enough there. But Man United as well, did we really do enough there against a team that we are demonstrating to be a pretty poor team? I think every Arsenal fan feels there's frustration, because we get to this point where we play in front of every defence. We've got a striker who runs in beyond, but we don't really expose his best talent, which is he plays on the shoulder, and we should be playing balls through. It feels like our team cannot do it, or doesn't have the ability to, which I doubt, because you've got some exceptional footballers in there. But it feels like we are in this kind of funk. I don't know what word to even put on it. That this funk that we can't look forward enough, and we need players who look forward. Eze has done it for a couple of times, but again, people need to find him. There's just this lack of connectivity between the midfield and the attack. And is that because Odegaard's been injured, because Eze's not been played enough? There are varying reasons, but I don't feel, for a team that is looking to challenge for the Premier League, we are even close to what we should be doing in terms of chance creation. It's very much we have to, and I think all of us can attest to this, and you guys please do say otherwise, but when we go a goal down, it feels to me like we're not going to really go for the gusto necessarily and get that back straight away. We have to really work for it, grind for it, keep grinding, pass to death. We may get a shot on goal in the 90th minute. It just feels like that, rather than, okay, Arsenal are coming on the attack, we're going to get something here. There's going to be a shot after shot that they're actually trying. It never feels like that to me personally. It just feels like we're always looking for that perfect goal, where we're waiting for for them to move, rather than we make the movement ourselves. It's just deeply frustrating at the minute.
Haroon, I want to get your thoughts on Victor Gyökeres. If you think about the game against Manchester City, I read somewhere that statistically there wasn't really much to choose between Victor Gyökeres and Erling Haaland. They both touched the ball exactly 24 times in that game. Gyökeres, I think, completed 13 of his passes, and Haaland completed Gyökeres completed 8 out of 13 passes. Haaland completed 8 out of 14. Gyökeres lost possession 13 times. Haaland lost possession 11 times. But of course, there was only one statistic that really mattered, and that's Haaland scored and Gyökeres didn't. City, it would feel, and Pep have obviously got a system that is designed to serve Haaland so beautifully, with a golden spoon, a goal. We haven't quite worked out the right sort of mechanics to feed Victor Gyökeres, but is it as simple as just saying, once we become more fluid, once we get that familiarity in terms of connections with the players, once he understands the system, that the goals will just come?
Yeah, I think it's a few factors. And some of it's not just linked to the player himself and how we create chances for him. It kind of goes to Yem's broader point of how we create chances in general and how we almost need to redefine domination of our games for ourselves. On the player himself, I'm so fine with him being low touch, not really involved in linking up and build up. He's a different player to Havertz. You've got to love the players for what they are and not try to mold them to be someone else. He's got immense strength on running off the shoulders, Yem said. His lateral runs are great, and he's a brutal finisher. We just don't really give him the chances at the moment to show his finishing prowess. Even the small glimpses he's got. So the two open play goals he has, one was just great run into the box, one first time pass from Eze, a great ball over the top from Calafiore. It's very direct football. The other he made himself, running in from the left. And then there was that chance where he hit the post where he combined with Eze on the left, ran over to the right, overlapped Noni, and took a fantastic shot that hit the post. So I have no concerns with his movement. I have no concerns with his finishing. I think there's just a bit of a delta is the players need to learn him a bit more. Turns out it takes a 15-year-old about 30 seconds to learn how to pass to him the other night. So maybe it's not as hard as we think it is. But also I kind of go back to that Arsene story that Thierry tells often, which was, as a striker, it's not just about, being frustrated at your teammates that they're not passing your ball. It's like you've got to get yourself in their eye line. You've got to make it so obvious that you are the pass available. So I think it's almost bridging the two. Like he has to learn a bit how we play. We have to learn a bit how he plays and kind of meet in the middle. So there's like no concern there in terms of who he is, what he'll provide to us, how we should deploy him. I think it feels like damning with faint praise when you say he should be a flat track bully. I think that's kind of what we needed. We need someone who can make the margins go our way in 90% of the games, and then the 10% against the top teams is where Kai starts and he comes on as a finisher. That's just where I see him. But I think there's a wider problem that maybe is being highlighted kind of even more because of the fact that we've got this elite goal scorer, best striker in the world, by the way, who isn't hitting the numbers that he'd want to quite yet, just in terms of output. And it goes back to that broader point of what's the risk appetite of the manager? How does he want to control games? What do we look at for domination? When I look at Liverpool play, it's suffocating to watch, even when it's not against my team. You just see chance after chance after chance. And I think where they approach the box with an intensity and speed of play and an acceleration and clarity, we almost decelerate towards the box, get confused, have 6 or 7 options, and then go into what Yem said was that horseshoe. And I did a bit of a casual sort of while working on my second screen rewatch of a few games from the 22-23 season, just to see what the differences were in the play. And a lot of it was just around the speed and clarity of those automatisms on the left and the right. It was just so clean, so simple, so aggressive, and it was repetitive. And I think we just need to get that back with that defensive structure. And then we won't even be having a conversation about this striker or anyone in the middle, because they'll be bagging relentlessly, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, I'm not worried about Victor Gyökeres at all, and I completely recognise that Kai Havertz is a very different profile of player, and it's really frustrating that Kai Havertz has been injured, because I think at Anfield and Old Trafford and even against City, I think those are the games for Kai because of what he does off the ball and what he does in terms of connectivity in the team. But with Victor, I find him just an easy target, for whatever reason, whether it's his frame, physique, how he runs, the backstory, and how he's, sort of been playing in Portugal all these years, or the amount of money that we paid for him. He's just an easy target compared to a number of other big name signings in the league. Troy Deeney first sort of sticking the sort of knife in by sort of saying Gyökeres needs to score in a big game. Arsenal bought him to score in those types of games, to score against United and Liverpool and City, and of course he hasn't done that. Jamie Carragher, to be fair to Carragher, was talking in defence of Victor Gyökeres, saying, look, he hasn't really had a kick. He's going to get criticism again, but Arsenal haven't really, created one chance for him in those games. And it is the lesser games where you would expect Victor Gyökeres to have an impact. And if he does stat pad and get maybe 20 Premier League goals, that is, bearing in mind Kai Havertz was our leading goal scorer in 9 last season, that's a massive improvement. I do want to dispel a couple of myths. This courtesy of Mizgan on socials. You can get him at as Mizgans. Hopefully that's the him. I'm going to assume it's a him. It could be a she, who knows. Arsenal's proportion of goals from various means per season in the Premier League. So over the last 4 years, and obviously the sample size for 24-25 is no, that's the full season last year, of course. So you can see in green, goals from open play, 54% in 21-22, 70.4% in 22-23, that mesmerizing season. 23-24 going back to 53%, and last season just shy of 60%. So, there isn't like just a downward trend. We were a little bit higher last season than the year before, which is quite surprising from open play. Set pieces have been fairly consistent. Actually, it was 4 or 5 years ago that we were really deadly at set pieces, which is insane. And counter-attack goals for Arsenal is on the up. Haroon, do any of these stats surprise you?
Not wildly, no. I think that the counter-attack one is interesting from a comparison of 22-23 to 24-25. I think the narrative really goes as well. It's hard to play the same football we did back then because people didn't respect us and take us seriously, so we could attack more into the space. But really, actually, quite quickly into that season, teams are sitting deep. We just were better at being more direct at how we unlock them and better at working around those defenses. The proportion of open play goals going down from 22-23 to last season isn't a surprise either. Potentially a surprise that there's an uptick from 23-24 to 24-25. But to be honest, I take it with a bit of a pinch of salt. Like I go eyes first than stats. And I think where I just feel we're most sluggish right now is our open play chance creation. And this doesn't sort of negate that for me. It doesn't make me think, oh, I'm totally wrong with what I'm seeing. I feel like actually, because these numbers are trending well, we're fine from open play. I think it's a feeling you get when we're watching it. As Yem said, when we go 1-0 down, you don't have that same kind of, it's fine, we'll go and score 2-3. It's like, oh, this is a bit of a slog. We're set up to go in front and then hold. We're not set up to drop a goal and kind of tear our way back into a match. So there's some like interesting trends, but I'm not looking at it being like this dispels the feeling that we're still a bit stodgy from open play.
Yeah, and listen, V Vlad's just a couple of points. When you look at numbers like this on screen, 23-24 open play is really surprising. It felt like we were so good that season, and saw the comment before saying, if I had to guess, I'd have guessed 40% of our goals came from set pieces, which is really interesting. Yem, a lot's been made of the flat 3 in the last couple of big games. Don't know what's happened to my slides. What's going on here? 1 second. Has it appeared?
It's the vacuum that is Mikel Merino. It's the vacuum that is Mikel Merino.
The vacuum that is Mikel Merino. So this graphic on screen, courtesy of the brilliant now_Arsenal and Daily AFC. 1 game in the last 10 Premier League games have been won with these who starting midfield, and you can see the results there, the draws in orange and the defeats in red. Quite costly. And so I want you to lead us to the conversation of, well, what is the answer? Is it as simple as saying, don't play these 3 again, have 2 of the 3, and have someone like Eberechi or Martin Odegaard as the 3rd?
I think that's a bit too easy because a lot of people are, think stick Eze in and it will be golden. No. Look, Mikel plays Mikel Merino, Declan Rice and Zubamendi for a reason. He wants to hold the midfield and keep, to dominate the midfield. As I said before, Mikel plays the stats. If you dominate the midfield, you're dominating the game. But what we're finding now is that, unfortunately, as our good friend put it, Joe, it's a very stodgy midfield when you have Mikel Merino with Declan Rice. Both of them very, very good players. And let me preface everything. Mikel Merino is a good player. It's demonstrated by his record for Spain. and there is a player there. The problem being is that when he plays in that midfield with Declan Rice and with Martin Zubimendi, it's not the same as with Spain with Pedri. I think Pedri is the big changer there because Pedri is such a good midfielder, and Declan Rice and Pedri, no disrespect, are completely different. But it's also the players ahead of them in that Lamine Yamal, chaos creator. You've got, Orazabal, who is a very good false nine. There are varying factors which help Mikel Mourinho to maximise his potential for Spain, and it's not the same for Arsenal. You're trying to play him with the strikers we talked about in Victor Gyökeres, who's low touch, who's not going to do what the Spain forward line does. And what we're finding, and the Port Vale game showed this as well, when he played in that kind of false nine, is the ball almost dies with him. And that's such a bad thing to say because, again, I like Mikel Mourinho. I think he's a good player, but it's not working for us at the moment with him starting games. It just feels like he's not delivering anything that's of value. Is he working at set pieces? Not really. There's nothing there for him. Is he helping us in being a second striker? Not really. He's not getting any shots on goal. Where is the value add in Mikel Mourinho? If we look at this from a business sense, you always ask, where's the value add? And I don't see it right now in him. With him there, it feels like we all know he's a little bit clunky. And that clunkiness is costing us in terms of what Haroon said, getting up the field quickly to maximize our goal chances. So I don't like to call for a player to be, cut out of the team because of this and this, for the reasons of he's not good enough. But he just doesn't offer anything at the moment in the role he's playing. It's more of a case of a body to fill the midfield so that you have a bulk in there. And I hate this. I think he's going to start this weekend just purely because of that midfield again. It speaks to me that Arteta will do it because you've got Joe Linton, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes. He will think in his head, and it's a sad thing to say, and I'd be very surprised if he changes it. I have to match up. He'll match up.
I still don't understand what Mikel Marino's best position is. I think he's obviously a good player, a good footballer to play for Spain and score the goals that he did in that international break after. We're all wondering what the hell was Mikel doing playing him at Anfield. No one denies that. It's just when I see him play for Arsenal, I just think to myself, what is your best role, mate? You're not a number 6. You're not really a number 8. You're quite slow on the ball. You rarely receive the ball on the half turn, and he doesn't do anything creative. He's not that creative attacking midfielder. He's not going to play those little slide balls through. He hasn't got that sort of vision. He's a great box crasher. He's a great finisher. He's got a decent engine on him, but he's not physically imposing or anything like that. He's just I just can't make it out. And Haroon, when he was in the lineup, we were saying earlier in the group chat, like, we lost our heads. Like, what is Mikel doing? Why would you play that? And it's funny because after the Anfield defeat, we all thought, Arteta ruined it in the sort of team selection. But then Mourinho goes away for Spain and scores those 4 goals in 2 games, including that amazing hat-trick. I think it was over Turkey. And everyone's all of a sudden thinking, I was vindicated. That's what Mikel Mourinho can do. And then he goes and does it against City again, and we struggled. And of course, we had to make the changes at half-time to really sort of change it. I'm dreading what Yembele has just said there, Haroon, that Mikel Arteta is just going to Mikel Arteta, and he's going to go with Mourinho because he's a safe, wise, experienced option in midfield in a game that's going to be very, very physically demanding on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's going to start as well. That's where my head is going to. I think it goes to a wider point on the manager and what his values are for controlling a game, dominating a game. I worry going ahead into this weekend that he's going to think this is a physical team in a hostile atmosphere. Therefore, we need to match them pound for pound and go physical and have him in there for his dual numbers and his physical robustness. When we went there and won 2-0, I think it was in 2023, we did the exact opposite. We controlled the game technically. And I guess this is the like Mikelism that we need to sort of figure out. Like, is this his really staunch value point of, in tough games, in tough environments, I control this with dual winners, I control this by making it a fight, and I can chew glass, and I don't care about entertainment. I care about making this, nullifying this game until the last 20, and then we can go and nick it. And I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that we are going to see some unleashing of pure entertainment at Newcastle by having Eze and Odegaard as starting alongside Gyökeres, and it's going to be silky football. But look, I think that the player himself is a tricky one to analyze. He's filled in really well as a 9, as you said, or like a false 9. He has a great finish on him. He has a great footballing brain, according to the manager. And he's just what you want from a squad player, which is like he doesn't drop the floor of the team, but he doesn't raise the ceiling, and he doesn't excite, and doesn't cause chaos. And as Yem said, Spain have those players around him, aplenty. They're everywhere. They're on either wing. They're through the middle. They create all sorts of mayhem. And I think that he suffers from the fact that being in a midfield with Rice, you're just never going to have that. It's too stodgy. It lacks sort of that technical smoothness in that space. But again, this goes back to the manager. It's like, does the manager care about that? If the manager's goal is actually we want to win duels, we want to cycle it out wide, and I don't want my midfielders to do that, it's well, we've got to be like, well, this isn't going to change unless Mikel changes his view on this. Yeah, and I think, I guess to round this off, like I'm always hesitant about something Mikel said earlier this season, which is around Marino being in a good vein of form, and therefore we should kind of play him with this and play him through this. Sometimes your squad players or your finishers, however he wants to kind of use that terminology, should have their defined roles in the team. And I put Trossard in this camp. Like, no, everyone looked at Trossard starting in City and was like, great, he did really well at Bilbao, and his assist against Forest was superb, but he shouldn't be starting this game just because he's had a string of sort of good snippets of performances. And it feels like it's almost too much of a reward for players who don't lift our ceiling enough and don't impose themselves and don't say to the opposition, we're here to not just dominate you, but to obliterate you creatively, technically. We're going to play you off the park. It says, oh, you want to make this a bit of a fight in midfield. You want to make this a bit of a margin call. And I think that's where we got unstuck a bit last season. Look at the number of draws there. Everything was on the margin. And you don't break that cycle with a player like this. So I worry. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're all wrong. I hope he doesn't start on the weekend. And there's nothing against the player. There are plenty of games that is going to be so valuable. But I hope we go there and put our most aggressive, creative foot forward and say, be as loud as you want to the Newcastle fans, be as aggressive as you want to the Newcastle midfield. We're just going to play you off the park because we can. And if you try and attack us, we have a wall at the back. So good luck.
Go for the jugular, I say. And listen, just on Mikel Marino, to your point, Haroon, we all love all of our players on this channel. If you're watching for the first time, wondering what this is, this is appalling. You can't be talking about players like this. We love Marino. He has a role in the squad for sure, but he just, in my opinion, shouldn't be starting. And Mikel Arteta, we know, is a stubborn guy, and this is what gets me. Cindy's comment. It's a very funny hill to die on for Mikel. Like, you have spent almost £70 million on Eperechiesa. You've got Ethan Wanyeri, who's such a promising talent. You've obviously got Martin Odegaard, who's sort of been in and out of the team squad with injury. But like, to still go with those three, and that three is so flat and so different to anything that we've done in the past. It's a really weird gamble. So to an extent, yeah, look, if this, had we got a result at Anfield, we wouldn't be talking about it tonight. But we didn't get a result against Liverpool. We didn't get a result against City with Marino in that midfield. And if he goes again on Sunday and Marino, we don't get a result with Marino in that team, and you can see the stats on screen. 1 victory in 10 Premier League games where Marino is lined up with Declan Rice. It's not a good look. It's like Mikel Arteta's not, failing to sort of learn. And, Eberechiesa was man of the match against Port Vale. And I think the fix, to kind of go with the thumbnail, again, this graphic courtesy of Mizgan, it's got to be one of these two, surely, that lines up with Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi. Haroon, you're nodding. I mean, who would your preference be if both are fit? Or do you play both? Do you maybe sacrifice Martinelli at left wide forward and go with Ezra on the left? Odegaard maybe in a sort of, ahead of a pivot with Rice and Zubimendi?
Yeah, in a heartbeat, play both. Play Eze from the left, play Odegaard in his right 8. I think that it gives you the perfect blend of technical security and physical security. Like, our back four plus Declan plus Zubi's not a small guy. It's enough in terms of winning duels and being physically imposing. Like that will do plenty. And then in terms of the press, I think it's always a bit weaker without Odegaard on the pitch. So having him there for that is critical. And look, I think that the crucial part of this game at St James's Park is don't let them start quickly. Every time they've beaten us, they've put a goal in the first 10 minutes and then just sat back and sat on that. Just quieten the crowd down, control the ball, make it really, really hard for them to get into the game. You can do that. You do that through technical quality. And then as soon as you get that opportunity to sort of impose yourself and create chances, be ruthless, be clinical, and then you can start playing the dual game. Then you can do the opposite. I almost want Mikel to flip the game here in terms of the script that he uses for the Liverpool or the City game, where actually go out and get the goals and then bring on the midfield, bring on Marino, bring on the defenders, hold the result, hold a 2-0. I'm very, very happy with that. But I'd go start both and say that we're giving you, in a must-win game, in my opinion, we're giving you our best attack to blow them apart. And I think that Eze on the left, Saka on the right, Gyökeres up front, and then Odegaard and Rice as the 8s behind. I think that's a great balance. It's got energy, it's got creative quality, it's got directness, it's got final third calm and coolness and clarity and sort of ruthlessness. It feels like a really good blend to really hurt them. So that's kind of the route I take, I think.
Well, we'll finish on starting lineup and match predictions ahead of the Newcastle game shortly. Yembele, just as Haroon was talking, the numbers, as you can see on screen there, the greens are who comes out on top out of the two players, Eze and Odegaard. Metrics in the middle column there. Looks at goals and assists from last season. Eberechi has a higher non-penalty XG and expected what's XAG? What is that? Expected?
Assists for goals, I think.
Assists for goals? Maybe. No, expected assist would be XA. I have no idea. Anyway, you football nerds, tacticos, well ahead of FK. Key passes, Martin Odegaard obviously triumphs their percentage of passes into the opposition box. Open play, shot creating actions as well, much higher than Ebbs. However, Ebbs is much better at taking players on and carries into the box. So look, shoots on sight, take-ons, carries into the box, exactly the sorts of qualities that we were missing. Yem, is it straightforward for you as well to echo what Haroon was saying? Both should start?
Yeah, if both are fit, then yeah, you would start them both because look, as Haroon have said, and we've all said, we've got that solid base. You've got Rice, Supermendi in the pivot. You've got your base. Let the attack go and attack. They don't need to work as hard as they do all the time. It's so frustrating. I get Mikel wants to dominate the game, but there's domination through, as Haroon said, technical quality. It's not just through winning the physical battles and the duels. You win it by scoring goals and completely destroying the other team mentally. We've seen it so many times. When you score 2 or 3, they go out the window mentally. So make it difficult for Newcastle, because Newcastle are always happy to play the physical game. Why do you want to play that game with them? That's what they want. They want you to come and be physical because it's their game. They love that. But if you come with them with technical ability and pass them, which they cannot do, some of their midfielders very good. They're very good footballers, but they're not technical enough. They are what they are. They are a transition team, counter-attacking, but you hold the ball, suffocate them, and work your chances as we need to, you'll win the game. I'm confident of that. But Arteta, I just don't see it. Everything I've seen, the City game showed me as well. He does not believe yet he is in a position where he can say, I'm going to go for it. Because the City game, to me, was the game that everyone had down as we were the favourites. You go into that with the team that we expected, we would win it. But he didn't believe it in himself from the outside in. Again, there may be mitigating circumstances, but from the outside in, as a lay football fan, it felt like you'd given up. You'd said, I'm going to go with what I'm going to go with to dominate the midfield and match up, not to win the game by outscoring them. And again, I just expect the same at Newcastle, because I think what he wants is that pure, I want to dominate every area. But when you play that stodge midfield, You're not going to get that. What you're going to get is playing into Newcastle's hands. I just can see that. That is just purely what they want. They want you to come to fight. They want you to engage them. Don't engage them. Get past them and get through on goal, because that's all they want. If you play beyond them, they struggle. And as well, with Fabian Schär doubtful, that's even more of a reason to try and play beyond them, because it's made no sense in the last couple of years to play Newcastle at their game. When have we gone physically with them and beaten them? I haven't seen it. We've done it when we're better, when we're technically superior to them. That's the way you do it for me. And to do it, you need Eze and Odegaard. Odegaard to lead your press, Eze to provide the moments. Look at these stats. They tell you moments, Eze will deliver. That's what he does. Martin Odegaard's your metronome, the one who will keep the attack moving along. When you transition back, he will provide the press and get you going on the attack again. But if you want something out of nowhere, it's Eze. And that's what the facts bore out.
Right, on to the home straight. We're going to talk about the Newcastle game now and the weekend that we've got coming up. Hundreds of you watching live on YouTube right now. If you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe if you've not already done so. Drop a like on the video. It's a massive help to the channel. It really helps raise the profile of the firm on YouTube and attract more people to this ever-growing community. Really appreciate everyone joining the chat tonight, everyone watching, channel members, Patreon members, and of course, just regular viewers. Love to have you here. So look, match week 6, gents and ladies and boys and girls watching. That is the Premier League table currently, courtesy of PremierLeague.com. Liverpool top of the league, 5 wins out of 5, 15 points. Arsenal in second, only on goal difference over the arch enemy, and Bournemouth, of course, a really impressive start to their season this year. Crystal Palace, who play Liverpool tomorrow, are, as you can see, in 5th place. So the fixtures tomorrow: Brentford, Manchester United. That is the early kickoff. What a great mid-table clash that is. Wow, Brentford in 17th. United in 11th. Brentford could hop into level points with them. Chelsea at home to Brighton. Chelsea in 6th place. Palace, that's the game that I just talked about. And Crystal Palace been all sorts of cheeky today with their social media. Mark Gahey's face on the next up with the sort of hands cupping his ear, which is very, very impressive. They play Liverpool at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace have got an impeccable record at Selhurst Park since February this year. I wonder if they can take points off our rivals. Leeds will play Bournemouth. Manchester City at home, 3 p.m. kickoff against Burnley, who are hovering just above the relegation zone. Nottingham Forest taking on Sunderland, and Spurs with the 8 p.m. kickoff against Wolves, giving them the chance to leap over us ahead of Sunday when Aston Villa take on Fulham. Villa, of course, winning their first game of the season last night in the Europa League. And, of course, Arsenal go to St James's for that 4:30 p.m. kickoff before Monday Night Football is Everton versus West Ham. Yem, I think you were talking about previous games against Newcastle United. 3 defeats in 4 of our last league games. But, of course, the big change is that Alex Isak is not at Newcastle anymore. This is a fixture, chaps, that is causing us problems. Obviously, we talked about the League Cup defeat last season. Newcastle United, there's a bit of needle in this fixture. They like to consider it as a big game. Physically, they're always up for it, and they've caused us some damage, as you can see. Back in November 24, Bruno Guimaraes scoring that single goal to give them a 1-0 lead. January 25, Anthony Gordon scoring at the Ems, doing the Thierry Henry celebration. Then back in February earlier this year at St James's, where they played us in the reverse fixture in the league, beating us 2-0. Then, of course, the League Cup games, which we didn't talk about. And yeah, they are our bogey team, says V Vlad. So, Yem, I guess just raw thoughts. How are you feeling ahead of this fixture on Sunday?
I hate this game. Honestly, hate this game. Because I know what to expect already. 4:30, under the lights, Geordies, tanked up. It's literally the worst thing you could actually hope for, because it's got all the ingredients for what they want. It's exactly, you create the cauldron atmosphere. This is what Eddie Howe wanted. He always wants this, and the scheduling has allowed it. And obviously, Alexander Isak is not there. They're still a quality side. They've got a lot of quality running through there. Voltemada is a very different player, but still a threat. 6'6". Set piece is going to be very interesting from now on. Big Gabby is going to be needed just to give a little push shove occasionally, introduce him to the game. But look, I think everyone knows what we're about to get on Sunday. It's going to be loud, noisy. They're going to be really up for it because, again, this needle, which I has come out of nowhere, to be honest. It's like a little small club trying to punch upwards. No, it's not really getting there, but they're trying. But it's going to be difficult. They're going to make it very physical in the midfield. They're going to make it physical all over the park. I keep saying it. Don't engage that. Please, Arteta, just don't fall for the trap, because it's always Eddie Howe is the master at this at the moment. The mid block, he'll play this stupid mid block, and we're going to fall for it. And this vacuum is going to happen where we're going to horseshoe our way. They're going to get one counter attack goal, score, and then we're going to be going, why do we keep doing this? It's literally Groundhog Day every time we play them, because it's never any different with how we approach it. Arteta just falls into the trap every time. I'm getting so frustrated with this. Sorry.
Haroon, what do you make of, just as Showroff says, Newcastle is going to be a physical game. We've got to be ready. No excuses. But what do you make of the comments that we had at the start of the show about this being a must-win game for Arsenal already so early in the season?
Yeah. It's been a season and a preseason of like absolute statements. Like, Arteta must win. There are no excuses with the squad. There are no excuses with this game. And there's always context, and like nothing's really that binary. However, there's every chance we'll go into this game being 8 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool are masters of front running with the league. As soon as they get there, the pressure's off them and they can just go churn out the results. They're already doing it. So I think that it's partly a must-win just to be in the room. I think, and for me, 5 points, I could keep that 5 point gap until April. I'd be fine with that. It's workable for me. But it's ensuring that we just don't let it slip, and then make ourselves exposed to a wider narrative about if we're good enough, if we're title challengers, as Arteta lost it. It's just, that's what I really kind of find boring and tedious, is we just have to answer those external narratives again and hear it played out in the wider media. I think as well, like if we do win, there'll be 13 out of 18 points from a very tough run of fixtures. And I also posted this earlier, and it's something that, I guess, going beyond the Newcastle game, if you think about the next group of Newcastle away, I think it's West Ham at home, then Fulham away, and Palace at home. We got 2 points from those games last season, and 3 points from those games the season before. So if we win this game, it sets us up really perfectly for those next 3 games against West Ham, Fulham, and Palace. And that's where we can really make the biggest gains in terms of thinking about where we failed before, in games that we should win now that we've got the squad and the players to really attack those. But like, to Yem's point, with all that hope that we can do this, there's been this element of Groundhog Day and sort of repetitive tactical failings when we've gone up there. And it has really, for me, stemmed from that point of trying to engage them in a fight that we're never going to win. That's not to say we don't have physical players. It's not to say that we don't have worries on the pitch. It's just the worst way to try and control the temperature of that stadium. It's never going to work. It only gets them up for it. The time that we did go there and win, we had Jorginho playing at the base of our midfield, and we just quietened them down to submission by playing a really technical game, a really creative game. And I think it was 2-0 in the end. No, it was Odegaard and Martin, or like a share own goal or something. But I'd hope that we'd look at that blueprint rather than the ones that haven't worked and say, let's do that. Let's lean into the creative qualities. Let's make sure that we can get, I think an early goal is pretty crucial here. And then we can start to dictate the flow of the game. And then we leave room for our finishers to wrap it off at the end. So yeah, I mean, like, to the kind of core question of must win, I think it is. I think we need to go to these types of places and show that we have the ability to shut them down and come away with a win. Barcelona did it in such a clinical form, and I think the blueprint's there for how you approach it. So I think there's a lot riding on it.
No Alex Isak, of course, who left for Liverpool in the summer after a very long chase. They have replaced him with I forget his surname. How do you pronounce it?
Voltemade.
Voltemade, who has scored already in the barcode kit there. But that's a big loss, isn't it, Haroon, for Eddie Howe? I mean, Alex Isak is a fantastic player, has scored against us on a few occasions for Newcastle, and that's possibly a big advantage for us.
Yeah, thank God he's not playing. I couldn't stand the bloke against us. Obviously, a formidable striker, but he just gave our defenders, our centre backs, total nightmares with his movement. Saying that, like, I think we should be conscious about. I haven't seen too much of Voltemada, so I can't really say anything with any expertise there. But look, Gordon will be back for this. Elanga is absolutely rapid. If we give them space to work with, they're going to have our fullbacks on toast with speed. So I think we've got to be cautious there. But it's obviously helpful that they don't have one of the best strikers in the world. And I think they're still probably adjusting to not having him because he gives so much in so many different ways. So I'm thrilled he's not there. It's really kind of the apex of their team that's been taken out. And it gives a bit of comfort in terms of how we can control their goal scoring threat.
Well, Newcastle United have won each of their last 3 games against Arsenal at home without conceding a goal. So let's wrap up tonight's show on starting lineup and match predictions. As you can see, I've just brought up our starting lineup from the game against Manchester City, courtesy of Optra Analyst. I think we've all talked about the forwards, but we'll do it anyway. I mean, look, I think all completely agreed that David Raya starts in goal. Any changes to that back four? Are you foreseeing maybe Ben White coming in? No, Yem's shaking his head. Ricky Calafiori to come straight back in after missing Port Vale. And you would imagine Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba at the heart of the defence. Yeah, both of you agreed with that. So that is the back four that we go with. Okay. In midfield, we've just talked at length about Mikel Merino and how he shouldn't start. I think what Arteta will do and what we'd like him to do are probably 2 entirely different questions. But are we all agreed that we'd probably go Zubimendi, Rice in a pivot, with one of our creative midfielders just sort of sat ahead of them in that sort of number 10 role, presumably Odegaard, who has been past fit and will be in the squad for Sunday. That's nothing to do with ITK. That was Mikel Arteta's press conference, of course. And I think Newcastle are going to be missing Fabian Schär, as you mentioned him earlier. Noni Madueke is not available to play. He's obviously got his injury out for another sort of 6-ish weeks. Are you expecting Saka to start, Haroon, after Port Vale?
Yeah, I think he's been built up. So it's 45 minutes against City, 60 against Port Vale. He should be able to go pretty much the whole game if we need him to. And I just towards putting the best players out there. If they've had time to train and tune up, then they're ready to roll. So I'd be very comfortable with that.
Interesting. Up front, Victor Gyökeres, and who's playing on the left for you, Yem? Is it Leo Trossard, the goal scorer from Wednesday night, or do you bring in Nelly, or do you play Eberechi Eze?
Look, if we go with the Mikel Arteta cycle of Trossard, Trossard will be back in because this is the cycle. We've seen the diagram before that Trossard comes on, scores, starts a game, plays badly, comes off, it keeps going round and round. So if you're saying with your head, Trossard will start. And then we all go nuts again with that lineup as we did with the City one. Personally, I would prefer to have Eberechi Eze in the game. I still don't think Martinelli should be starting game, not because he's not a good player, but I just don't think that in this kind of game again, he's going to add enough of the value that he should do, which is as the inside forward. He's an inside forward. He's not a winger. This is what Mikel has to realise. He plays well on the shoulder. Let him run through a one-on-one on the defender and let him finish. Do not let him go to the byline. He can't cross to save his life. He cannot dribble to save his life. Just let him do what he does best. But I fully expect it will be... My head says it's going to be Trossard again. Because something just says...
Really?
Yes, because... I've now got to the state.
Oh, Mikel, don't do it to me, please.
Look, let us accept the fact. We are all.
You're basically saying it's going to be the same team, but without Madueke, it'll be Saka.
Yes.
No,
because
no chance.
Mikel is a psychopath. He does not listen to anything that you or I or the media will say, or even logic in his head. He's a stubborn man, and what he says is what I've just said. Trossard scored in the last game with a brilliant shot. He's going to score another goal in this one. But what will really happen is that Trossard does jack all. And we'll have another terrible game and we're back to what it is. I'm just telling it like it is, people. Talk to me on Sunday.
I don't think I've got the capacity. Honestly, if I see Trossard starting on Sunday, I might just...
You don't have the facilities. You don't have the facilities, my friend.
Oh, mate.
Everyone knows
you've
it.
lost my train of thought.
Everyone knows.
Okay,
Everyone
look,
knows it.
where's the game going to be won or lost? By the way, listen, if you're interested in a full preview tomorrow morning, 11:30, I'll be joined by Kendall Rowan, of course. Been supporting Newcastle, been a great contributor to Latte Firm over the years. She'll be giving her thoughts on the whole Alex Isak saga, what it means for Newcastle. Their impressive start to the season, to be fair. They lost to Liverpool in that opening game when they conceded in the last minute, but they've kept 4 clean sheets in their last 5. I think they've conceded the lowest XG in the league. So that doesn't bode well for Arsenal. But chaps, where do you think the game is going to be won and lost? Haroon, give us a prediction.
I am going to go 2-0 to the Arsenal. I think that okay, I'm going to go full delusion here. I think that we're going to start with Eze on the left, and Odegaard's going to be back, so he'll be almost playing that 10 role behind the pivot of Zubi and Rice, Saka on the right, Gyökeres up front. I think it'll be a Bukayo Saka goal to start. I think we'll start sharply. We'll go down the route of technically controlling the game. I sound like an idiot talking like this.
You've had too much of that steak. The meat sweats have taken over the road.
I was checking if I put some whiskey in my tea or something. And then I think second half, it's going to be a bit backs against the wall, and then we'll get a goal on the counter with Gyökeres. Celebration up to the skies to our away fans, and then we'll walk home happy, feeling like we're back in the race.
So you're going for a 2-1.
2-0 to the Arsenal.
2-0.
2-0. Yeah, can't see us conceding.
Okay. Boston says 3-1 to the Arsenal. Arsenal Granny says 2-1 to the Arsenal. D-Day Spring says, I hope Saka isn't needed for the whole game against Newcastle. I hope he is. Well, actually, no. I hope we're 2-0, 3-0 clear and he comes off, obviously. Vivlat says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Saka and Big Gabby. I love it when people just put in their scorers as well. I love it. You've just done that, Haroon. I love that. D-Day Spring says 2. I can't see a clean sheet. I'm sorry. I cannot see Newcastle not scoring at home against Arsenal. They always do it, and I think they will. Josh Miller says 1-0. Eze will score. Jonathan Kay says 1-0 to the Arsenal. I mean, I'll take that, of course, wouldn't you? Logical Nonsense says 2-0 to the Arsenal. Dave says 1-0 to the Arsenal. Wow, Arsenal fans are confident. T-Say442 says 2-0 to the Arsenal. Voltamade is about to get a rough welcome to the Saliba Gabriel prison. The Saliba Gabriel what's the word? Penitentiary. Yembele, what's your thoughts?
I'm going to give you 2, so don't
just
ride me here.
Why can't you just answer the question like a normal person?
No, because I can't. Because I just told you the fact. Why?
Okay.
Why are you not? Look, Haroon had his delusional moment. Let me have my realistic moment, and then my delusional moment. Why can't you just work with me here? Just let me be. Right. My delusion says that Arteta will have that epiphany, and then he'll go attacking, and we'll get a 2-1, and we will win. But in reality, what will happen is what I've just told you. Marino in midfield, vacuum. Trossard on the left, lack of output, 1-1. It's either that, it's one of those two. I can't... my head says 1-1 because Mikel will be Mikel and try to dominate the midfield. My heart says it's 2-1 to the Arsenal, but...
Would either of you take a draw now? If I offered to you right now,
no.
would you take a draw?
No.
So you both think that this is almost a must win.
Draws don't move the needle for us.
It's a must win, as Haroon said, because it's to get that run going. We can't be this far behind Liverpool if you're going to be serious about the title, even with the hard run we've had, because then they'll just walk off into the distance as they're doing already. You can count on something happening at Crystal Palace. You can count on it. Something will happen.
Hazuka PK has figured you out. This is Virgil's Arteta out. So
he
and Wayne both Teta out.
I'm not a Teta out. I just know what the man does. He's a psychopath. I told you against City what he'll do, and he did it.
Yeah, so you're Arteta out. I think Newcastle will score tomorrow. Sunday, sorry. I think it will probably be a score draw. If we are to win it, we'll win it by 1. So I reckon it'll be 2-1, maybe Arsenal, potentially 1-1.
You just did what
I like
I
the
did.
idea of 1-1.
You just did it in a different way.
No, you went 1-1, didn't you? So no,
you just went 2-1 and then 1-1. It could go either way.
You did just do this.
I mean, Newcastle could win. To be fair, it's my show. I do what I want.
I gave you the full explanation with Arteta mind games.
Would I take a draw right now?
He's going to
Would
say
I take a
yes.
draw right now?
I think my
I
problem with
probably would.
draws is like they did nothing for us last season.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely
know, but it
nothing for
is
us.
Newcastle away, 3 defeats in 4, Haroon, and they've
These are the games you have
4
to win.
clean sheets in 5 for them this season. I know Liverpool have won there and won, to be fair.
Yeah, this and
Yeah.
as James said, like this is the kind of game we just need to go and win, and it's really hard and it's tough, but we have the players and we have the squad to finish the game. And I think at some point you just need to be like balls to the wall about it and say, no, we're coming here to beat you. We're not coming here to like work around how tough this is going to be and how hard your midfield is. Like, no, we're winning this league and we're going to come here and show why. And I think it's like it's a mentality change as well in the manager. I just want to see just like go and be like, we're not bothered by you because this is the team we're going to play and we're going to walk you off the park.
Arteta, just do what you did at the end of the Man City game. Play all the attackers in whatever formation you can.
And that's the source of my
That's it.
delusion. It's like he saw
We're winning.
the light.
3-0. 3-0. No Isak. What are we even worried about? Match of the day 2 is going to be so sweet, more than you believe. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, chaps. Really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been really good fun. And thanks for keeping the chat active. Like, there are so many names that start the show, and there are so many names still watching the show. I cannot believe it. An hour and 25 minutes you've been going on for on this Friday night. Your dedication is honestly so gratefully received. Thanks also for all of our Patreon members and our channel members for tuning in. And for these 2 fine chaps, anybody wants to follow Yembele, he is available at Verge59. Also owner and host of the Red Lines and Half Spaces podcast. Episode 18, is that out now?
This came out this evening, so grab it.
Lovely. Any special guests, or was it just you and Joe?
No, it's just me and Joe. We did a preview. We reviewed the Port Vale game and obviously looked ahead to Newcastle. So yeah, grab it when you can.
Very good. And if anybody wants to follow Haroon, Haroon is excellent at Haroon Hickman. Not of any sort of podcast, but increasingly on Latte Firm, and you're always welcome here, my man. What are your plans this weekend, Haroon? What are you up to? Going away anywhere? Doing anything? Or gym and steak?
God, no, it's going to be a lot of work this weekend. Some family time in the Science Museum tomorrow, which should be entertaining.
Nice.
I know. We're going to be playing good
educational.
Uncle. I know. I've got to be the good example in the family for once. And then Sunday, just watching us tear it up north. So
can't wait. I think it's going to be a great weekend. Now I'm in the mood. I'm in the zone.
If Liverpool lose tomorrow,
oh my God, don't! What a weekend!
Is it 3 p.m.? Is it 3 p.m.?
It is. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff.
You have a 3 p.m. Oh,
if Latte Firm did weekends, Liverpool would get beat at Selhurst, and we'd go up to St James's and win 4-0. There we are. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Look after yourselves. We'll be back with a match preview tomorrow morning with Kendall Rowan, and then, of course, the match reaction video on Sunday. And James and I are going to do an on-the-whistle instant reaction type pilot. So look out for that as well. We'll leave it there. Sleep well. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye for now.